Folks, we have a major update to cover here today throughout the course of this video in regards to this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. But before we get started, world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Life has something to say to you fake Resident Evil fans out there. You don't deserve this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. After all, you came from Fortnite to this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, and you thought that Capcom hit that home run. Incredibly sad. You see, world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Life is willing to step up to that plate to say, hey, you know what? Maybe this isn't where it needs to be. And he's the only real gaming channel left on this entire platform. And you fake Resident Evil fans don't care about quality. You want something that's new and shiny. And you were ultimately satisfied with this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. You thought that Capcom hit that home run. You thought that this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 was perfect and that it could do no wrong. Well, I hate to break it to you, but Capcom, they dropped the ball. Now on to the news about this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. Well, folks, unfortunately, as of this recording, there is no new information. And believe me, I've done my research. Again, I am world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Life. However, with that said, folks, we continue to come on here to potentially spread awareness to make sure that Capcom knows that, hey, yes, this is something that we are indeed still clamoring for, this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. So, folks, if you want to see this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 come to fruition, do me a favor and hit that like button. But you fake Resident Evil fans need to understand that this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 was not Capcom's home run. In fact, if we take a look at the numbers right now on Steam, literally, it's a shit show. No one is playing this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. And you know why that is? That's because the game was disposable. You played it for about a week and then you moved on. And the only kind of support that the game had in terms of longevity, because Capcom dropped the ball so tremendously bad, was through modding. The modding community helped out the game. But we shouldn't be dependent on mods, should we? Oh no. Capcom should have gave us some more meat on that bone. But they didn't do that. More people literally watch my content from world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Life than there are people playing this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, at least on Steam. That's incredibly sad, and it's a testament to how ultimately Capcom dropped the freaking ball. But here's the reality of the situation, folks. I still, despite knowing that Capcom did not hit that home run here with this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, I am still looking forward to this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. And I'll tell you why, folks. It's because Capcom has a second chance, another opportunity to say, okay, maybe this didn't necessarily tick here in this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. Let's improve upon that aspect here in this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. And if Capcom plays their cards right, they could very well hit that home run here with this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. But they can only really do that if they get the proper feedback. Not from you fake Resident Evil fans that are like, oh, this is a 10 out of 10, Michael. Well, you're wrong.